And we're live. All right, welcome back to the PEO Speedwagon podcast. And we've actually decided on a name for our listeners.
Yeah.
The Wagoneers. So hop in the PEO Speedwagon Wagoneers. You're in the wagon. So
You're in the wagon.
you're in the wagon.
And now you have a name. Get excited about it.
Yeah, t-shirts coming soon in the merch store.
We have one of those?
But Ryan, this is episode
8.
Episode 8. We made it.
Yeah.
Some people said we wouldn't get to episode 8. You know, we've been on a long journey here, these podcasts, and so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. Many said we shouldn't start this journey, so getting to 8 is significant.
Yeah. In full transparency, this is our second time recording it because the first time
you're going to share this.
I forgot to record the audio the first time we recorded this.
Yeah.
So
apparently, a tenet of a good podcast is audio over video. We got the video, but not the audio.
No, we couldn't just post a video of us acting like we're talking about things. We would have to actually have the audio go with it.
No. Although people would probably be less confused.
Yeah. But we finally got the episode out. Feels like the delayed episode, though. There was a lot going on these last couple weeks.
Yeah.
So this episode's coming out late. It was probably some bad luck from the eclipse or something, but we had a lot of events squeaked in that delayed us a bit.
Yeah, I think it is important that this is happening now with like the having to retape this plus the delay since the last event.
Yeah.
I heard that Spotify noticed there was a downtick in like listenership, if that's what it is. And so they made 2 calls. They made a call to Taylor Swift about getting her album out. And I guess that's coming here pretty soon. And then they called us and they just said, could you get the next podcast out? So I think they pulled the levers they knew to pull.
And the stock price, I heard, was down the last week. So I'm sure it's all related to the PEO Speedwagon.
100%. Yes. The Wagoneers were not given what they needed and they just shut it down for a week.
100%.
Yeah.
Another huge event, though, is we had our first night at the ballpark, like PEOMG, sponsored by TriNet event with our clients. Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, it was a really cool event. It was underwritten by one of our partners in TriNet, and it was a fun night at Busch Stadium with the Cardinals. They did not win, but it was still a lot of fun, and we had a really nice suite and an opportunity just for a lot of business owners to connect and communicate with one another, which I got some great feedback. Obviously, that not only they enjoyed the game and all the free food and everything that came with it in the evening, but also it's hard for business owners to get to a lot of events where they're not being bombarded by salespeople or business development folks. And really, it was quite cool that we had a room filled with lots of our business owner clients and prospective customers, and then a few hand-selected partners. So it was great. We got to know them at deeper levels and personal levels, and just kind of been taking in the ball game. So it was a lot of fun, and really appreciated TriNet and our partners, Elizabeth and Lexi, who did a great job of helping us assemble this event.
No, yeah, it was fantastic. How many folks? I think we had 31, 32?
32.
Yeah, people there. It was great. And for me, first time seeing a PEOMG event of that size, and many more to come, certainly down the road.
Yeah, we're going to do more. Yeah. Yes, it was a rousing success.
Oh, yeah.
Much like our podcast recording last night.
Yes, exactly. That's what we're redoing. And then but other events going on that same week. We had one of our first in-person onboardings where we essentially implemented the platform that one of our clients is going to be using, the new PEO platform they're going to be on. And so that was of course a first for me to get to see that live and in person, and kind of got to see you in your element, really hands-on with helping folks on a one-on-one basis with the actual employees. And that was really cool. And I'd love to hear kind of what your take was from that.
Yeah, I look at those as such cool opportunities, not only for the company, the PEO, but just the relationship coming together, because it's really the first time that employees are introduced to what decision their business owner and leadership team has made.
Yeah,
largely for them, right? There's a lot of advantages in PEO that's fighting across the entire organization, from efficiency and cost savings and things like that. But also employees are really getting to enjoy the benefits of this. And that's not just healthcare benefits, but the ease and use of technology, the access to different programs. And it's a really cool event. And, this partner took great care with us, really kind of hands-on approach in the office for several days, meeting with employees, talking to them about their different options. They felt very comfortable and got a lot of great feedback and frankly, just gratitude. as we're able to help this really cool, exciting, fast-growing Midwest company. And I've done obviously hundreds of those throughout my career, and a number of them since we were here. But this was the first time you got to be firsthand and kind of see that impact, and what it meant to that employee to look at what was now coming their way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was great to see it. It was also an upgrade for them too, which is great. Like I always think the benchmark for like quality benefits is like if somebody asked me about my organization or my company I worked at, could I say like I have great benefits, like I am covered. I always find that you have some friends and they can't say that, and only a handful of them really can say like, oh, I work at a company, I have fantastic benefits. Like an issue comes up, and they're the ones who are like, oh, I don't have to worry about that. It's not even on my mind if I'm taken care of or not. And so it was cool to see a system like that implemented for them, and that they're well taken care of. But,
yeah, it's tremendous. I mean, you can see it on their faces. If you've done this right, your first like true evidence that it worked was when the employees see what's coming out.
Yeah.
Especially because with the healthcare and the benefits and what it's going to cost them, it's such a personal thing, right? It really does touch them in a really important way around not only how they're covered and what their employee thinks of them, but also how this is going to provide them a layer of protection for themselves and their families. And it makes a big impact. And it kind of, in a lot of ways, reminds me when I got into this business, 17, 18 years ago, that a message, kind of a thought that was shared with me from the guy who hired me when he talked about what it meant to bring someone into this environment, specifically at the employee level, because so much of the decision-making process around PEO is fixated on the business owner and the company and where that's going, and as it rightfully should, but also thinking about what is this going to mean to the employees and like how you can change lives in really positive ways through getting them a compensation model around benefits that can help them address what they need to take care of themselves and their family. And so he always kind of talked about it, to qualify for TRIP or President's Club or Chairman's Club or whatever it was, you needed to sell 300 lives on a worksite employee basis. But really, he talked about more thinking of it in the nature of impacting 300 lives this year, and then by extension through their families, how many people you are really actually taking care of through that. So it's cool, and that is a moment that did not escape me when we were with this client and I was sitting with some of the employees and talking about the options on HSA, FSA, different things. And you could see them really kind of nodding their heads and really being excited about that we were getting to do that.
Yeah. That was a really great experience to see, and many more to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We signed 2 new clients today, and we're going to have some onboardings here in the next couple of weeks, which is really cool.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. And all the same week while that's all going on, and we're seeing the event and we're seeing an onboarding taking place. We're also pretty swamped with lead generation right now. So we booked about 46 meetings in 11 days.
You guys.
So
I've had a few of them, but like you guys have done an unbelievable job. You have 46 meetings in 11 days, and that has kept us very busy, and just a really exciting thing to be able to again go impact more lives through these conversations that ultimately matriculate into potential PEO relationships.
Yeah, we're really hitting stride. It seems like with a lot of our marketing efforts and everything really kind of coming to fruition, and part of that too plays into the referrals that have come from the conversations we've had and the people that we've helped along the way. It's not just outbound or anything like that. That's helped us. And so, but I want to ask, is there any seasonality to our uptick, you think, in marketing? Like, you're an industry expert, anything in the PEO industry that is correlated to this time of year that makes this make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, it's you guys have really just generated a lot of interest, and that's part of branding strategy and social strategy and the direct work you're doing. And I think that represents a lion's share of why we have that. But I do think there is a seasonality to it. There's this calendar in the world of PEO and HR outsourcing, and a lot of it centers around kind of the fall selling season leading into January 1, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's this really well-known brick wall at the end of the year that is a natural point to align to benefit years and to align to existing renewals that were, moved and remitted to 1/1 to avoid ACA, 7-8 years ago.
Sure.
So there's just that concentration there. And then also companies who are looking at just doing things different in the coming year, and PEO becomes this really great vehicle for change and being an employer of choice and improving upon your human capital strategy heading into next year, building upon what you did this year.
Yeah.
So you see that there, and then you kind of see it drop off a little bit, right? Like kind of February, early parts of March, there's this a little bit of a haze that people are coming out of the end of the year. They're looking at what have they done in terms of decisions to not move or move, and they're just kind of evaluating that. And then you'll often see it kind of pick up right around now, right? Because there's a lot of people who have renewals and decisions to make kind of pre-summer 6/1, 7/1.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing a lot of people's kind of antennas go back up and go, that conversation that I haven't had the last couple of months and perhaps I needed to have, like, now is kind of the time. And if I'm in this renewal window, like, even more reason to do so.
Do you think that people are, the people who don't change at the end of the year or at the beginning of the year and they stay with what they had, do you think it's a few months into the new year that they start to realize, hey, maybe we should have made a change, and that's why they're engaging in these conversations? Almost like it takes a couple months for them to recognize this year is not going to be the same as last year, and we can't use the same system we've been on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a real thing that happens, that those who didn't make a move, whether it was to change from a PEO to a different PEO, whether it was just to move into a PEO for the first time, there is this very powerful notion of status quo, right? Mm-hmm. It's not that it's not broke, but there's not enough broke, perhaps, in my mind at the time to fix it. And that usually comes down to, really, in my mind, something you've heard me say endless time, like decisions like PEO, like, come down to the intersection of timing and economics, and both generally have to be right for this decision to happen. Yeah. So it may be somebody who did look at options at the end of the year, and maybe while the timing was right, the economics were not. Or it was a company who started earlier in the fall selling season and ultimately just said, hey, we've got too much going on at the end of the year. It's our big push. 40-60% of our sales happen in the last, 3-4 months of the year. Like, we just can't even think about transitioning. So maybe the economics could have happened, but just the receptivity relative to the timing wasn't.
Yeah.
And, through that, you have people who kind of just stay where they are, lay low, maybe hope for the best, right? Maybe hope whatever, momentum they had at the end of the year will carry through. Maybe whatever problems that were there from an HR, employee relations perspective, or growing pains just will kind of go away. And then I think the inevitable happens, that if there are challenges that need to be addressed, business owners, business leaders know that they need to take action. And so kind of they get through the first couple months of the year, and then it picks up.
Yeah. And then the message hits them at the right time, and it leads to the right conversation to see if they need to switch. And there's kind of varying degrees of different renewals throughout the year, based on different PEOs that people might be with too, if they're switching off of one to a new one. And so,
or even just healthcare plans in general. Whenever you built your plan got created or what have you, you got people off cycle. But yeah, they're all over the place, unless you've kind of fallen into some of the PEO world where they put them in tranches, tranche of clients at a certain time.
Yeah, I've noticed it's cyclical to the different types of people who want to have the conversation and what their needs are, but it's not too cyclical to people want to talk about this. It's like it's maybe it's the owner who didn't go through a change last year, or maybe it's somebody on the HR team who's noticing kind of the pains of the system that they're on. But it can be at different times of the year, or maybe they have an increase coming up, and then they want to have a conversation. So they're all driven sometimes by different motives, and that makes sense because it's a piece of their organization that has so many different arms and legs that, different ones can be kind of different pain points for them throughout the year. And then that prompts them to say, hey, we should have a conversation about this. Yeah.
Right. I've always felt in this industry, a lot of the things that create change are event based.
Yeah.
It can be a renewal. It can be a frustration point for a business owner. It can be a system breaking down that administers your system. It can be that, frankly, an HR issue. You're like, I'm never going to go through this again by myself. And, Rick at XYZ, PEO has been knocking on my door telling me, like, we should talk. I'm going to go talk to him right now. So something happens in that business that creates alignment, like, kind of like the eclipse. It's quite timely. Like, it finally crosses over. That event matches with the the timing and economics, and maybe it's an economic equation of pain versus cost, right? So finally, what's going on? This event has driven me to the point that I now have so much pain that either what I assessed from a PEO when I went through an evaluation in the past, now it's greater than that, or whatever perception of change and timing I need to overcome has now been surpassed because of that pain. And that can be driven by that event.
You mean the pain is directly above it, almost like a path of totality is coming right through it?
Right. It's your new rock band name.
Metal band. Yeah.
Metal band.
Metal band. Path of
Okay,
totality.
Yes. The event, totality, eclipse, timing, economics, it all comes together.
By the time we put this out, people are going to be so tired of hearing about the eclipse.
Yeah. Or this won't record. We'll have to do it again.
We'll have to do it again.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, this is great. It's been super busy, and that's the way we like it. And so I think it'll continue to be busy for us. But we will stick to our podcast schedule and get these out for you guys, Wagoneers.
Your newly minted Wagoneers.
Newly minted Wagoneers. Again, keychains, T-shirts, all in the merch store that is coming.
Yes. This is where someone typically says like PEOSpeedwagon.com // store
Wagoneer.
Wagoneers.
/Wagoneers. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Episode 8 in the bag.